Right, welcome back to the Comics Cube, everyone. Today I am with the writers of Savage Wizard, which the Kickstarter is up right now. Leslie Julien and Doug Wood. How are you guys?
Good. How you doing?
Doing okay.
I'm doing really good. How are you?
Doing good. So tell me, guys, how did you guys start working together?
Doug, you can take this one.
I always get to do this because he's so humble. I was on a comics creators Discord, and Leslie was in there, and he was showing off some of his mini comics that he was making. I was so impressed that he was getting so much like comics done and how great they looked and stuff like that. So I just said, "Hey, can I work with you?" And luckily, Leslie was just like nice enough to say, "Hey, yeah, let's work together." And he just kind of took me under his wing and taught me how to write comics. And so I learned from him, and he mentored me, and that's how we kind of got started.
Leslie, how'd you get into comics? Like, who, like, as a fan and as a writer, how'd you get into comics?
Yeah, I got into comics a little bit later. I had like one or two as a kid, but not a ton. I had like the random X Factor comic I got maybe when I was like 8, but really didn't have a lot of comics growing up just because comics are kind of expensive. My parents didn't want to drop a lot of money on comics. So later in life, I wouldn't say it was actually around college. I started having more disposable income, and that was around the time IDW was putting out their new Ninja Turtle series, and I've always been a huge Ninja Turtles fan. That kind of slowly got me back in, and at the same time, yeah, I believe Runaways was out, and that, so Brian K. Vaughan and kind of Eastman Laird are really, we're not Eastman Laird because it's also a Tom Waltz IDW book, but kind of really started pushing me to start reading a lot more stuff. And I would say maybe a couple of years after that, I was just writing some short stories, and my girlfriend was like, my wife now at the time, why don't you make like that story into a comic? And I was like, I don't know how. And I was like, oh, I guess I can kind of look this up online and figure out how to write comics. So I just kind of started writing comics from there. Pretty much I just started Googling and hopping from like from kind of community to community. I found like some smaller forums like Digital Webbing and Pencil Jack. I kind of danced around those for a little bit, not knowing what the heck I was doing. And yeah, I just kind of slowly started building up material, and here we are now.
It's interesting because we were talking about Brian K. Vaughan before the tape started rolling. So
yep, yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Is, I would say, very close to the inception of my career as a comic maker for sure.
And you have written short comics, like Gauntlet, Little Dragon Rider, Sixth Borough. I know you were in the Off into the Sunset anthology. Do you have anything that you would put up to anyone as your what you're all about so far?
I would say if you had to pick one of my comics to read, check out Gauntlet. I really love that story a lot. Me and Sam Owen put that together in like 3 weeks because I was feeling big imposter syndrome right before SPX a couple years ago. I got in. I was like, I need a new comic. I need something new for everyone to read. So Gauntlet is pretty much a story of a girl dies and she has to fight her way to get into heaven. So it's just a crazy situation, and it's really fun and lighthearted, and I think it's just a nice little action-packed story that kind of gives you a pretty good read of stuff I like.
Doug, what's the comic that got you into comics?
A comic that got me into comics? I think Venom. I don't remember exactly the title of the story, but there's this cover where he's just like all black Venom face with a big tongue coming out dripping green, and I just like, there was like a strip mall and we saw the comic book store, and my parents were like, okay, we'll take him in there. And I saw that cover and I was like, oh, please let me have it. And they're like, and I was like, no, he's a good guy. Let me have him, please. So I tricked him into trying to give me some comic because they were not about me having bad guy comics. And
I feel like that's really Venom Lethal Protector.
I think so too. Yeah. And I think from there, I just like Leslie. I didn't get very many comics as a kid because poor family, but with a lot of kids for me, and so it took me a while to start like being able to collect for myself. I think I saw a Comic-Con, like a San Diego Comic-Con interview with Robert Kirkman, where he's like, hey, if you guys are just starting out, everybody asks me for advice. You should go to like Pencil Jack and like digital webbing and, learn, meet other people. And I was like, oh, what's this? And I Googled it and figured it out and started getting in there. And it took me a long time because I tried to do everything so solo and try to be a lone wolf. And that's a huge mistake. You got to make friends. So I didn't really start actually making comics. Like I wrote comics for a long time, but I didn't actually start making comics until like the last couple of years. And I've been lucky. I had a one shot picked up by a publisher. And then I did like a Kickstarter last year for the first time as a trade, and we did success. And that's recently just got signed to a publisher. And then I did a 300-page anthology. It's kind of like What If Shonen Jump by people over in like people not in Japan, I guess, because they kind of have their own manga set. But anyways, I put that together. That was successful. So I just been kind of building and building and building.
That most recent one is Ultramax, signed by Source Point Press.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was recently.
Let's talk about Savage Wizard. Savage Wizard is up on Kickstarter right now, and out of your currently, as of this recording, out of $6,000 that you need for your goal, you have raised 2,525 with 27 days to go. That's pretty good, guys.
Yeah, we're in good position right now, I think.
So one of you tell me what Savage Wizard is all about.
Savage Wizard, if you boil it down really simply, is what if Conan Barbarian was forced to reclass as a wizard in order to save the world?
That's a
And
quick
we know
elevator.
this Conan, like the type that hates like magic and stuff like that. So it's totally against his will that we're doing this to him.
Mhm.
And what was the inspiration for this one?
It kind of came out of thin air. At the time, it was Pitchvember 2019. Pitchvember is basically you're supposed to come up with like a log line for a story idea every day throughout the month. And so I came up with a bunch of really random ideas. And when Doug approached me to collab on something together, we went back and forth and stuff and that weren't sticking. And then finally I said, I shot this one. So I'm like, hey, what if, this Conan Barbarian character had to reclass as a wizard? And he's like, oh my gosh, that's the one. Like, let's work on that. So it really just came out of nowhere from that random Pitchvember idea I had, but we really kind of taken off and had a lot of fun working with it and building it up.
How many issues are you looking at for the final count of the story?
It's a planned 4-issue miniseries. We could possibly go longer, but right now we're just focused on this 4-issue story that we want to tell.
Pretty cool. And what would you say the theme of the story is?
Good question. I would say it's a story about kind of growth and empathy, and we say kind of the consequences of stabbing a lot of people as well. So it's about those things mainly. I would say is learning to change and evolve is really kind of what it centers around.
Change, empathy, and repeatedly stabbing your enemies.
Yeah,
It's in
there it
this
is. That's what I try to
in the
remember.
description.
Uh-huh.
So you're saying here that people will like it if they like comics like Skull Kickers, Savage Sword of Conan, Barbaric, and Headlopper, or movies like Conan the Barbarian and Red Sonja. Are you guys fans of the sword and sorcery genre going back?
That's the funny thing for me. I was a person that didn't really read a lot of fantasy stuff or like watch a lot of fantasy movies. I just kind of, I don't know why, but I just kind of zoned out for those kind of movies. And Skull Kickers is actually one of the first things that I read that really kind of caught my attention and I actually was really into. So that's the one that's really got me into the genre and make me like a fan of working in that kind of thing.
Really? So you only got into it because of Skull Kickers, and now you're making one.
Yeah.
What about you, Leslie?
Similar to Doug, I would say I'm not the hugest fan. I watched the Conan movie as a kid and I enjoyed it. But really, I would say I don't read a ton of sword and sorcery stuff. I actually did read Headlopper when we were starting to script this, and I really loved the art style there and just the storytelling there. So that was probably like really the extent of my sword and sorcery digging. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Headlopper.
Let's talk about the art on this book is really good, and he couldn't join us today. But
Amazing.
Brian Flint, how do you guys get to work with him?
So all of us, me, Doug, and Brian, used to be a part of this online group called the Comic Jam. Basically, it pairs an artist and writer together each week, and you're supposed to come up with a one-page story based on a random prompt they give you. And I was at it at the same time as Brian, but we never had the chance to collaborate on any stories together. So when me and Doug had the script ready to go, and we had our reference material ready, and I was thinking of artists like who could do this, and kind of light bulb went off my head, like, oh my gosh, like Brian would be amazing for this. He did something at least visually a little bit similar, although tonally it's super different. He had this crazy story that's about gosh, I think it's about like these vampire chimpanzees or something. It's a bunch of also huge barbarian type guys. So yeah, just when I knew what we were gonna do, and thinking back to Brian's word, I was like, yeah, he's gonna be an awesome fit for this. And sure enough, yeah, it's been a great collaboration.
Doug, you want to add anything about Brian?
I said that when we pre-launched this thing, I showed off just the bare minimum amount of his art, and people were into what he was doing. And just like, if you look at the art and it's not for you, I don't know, but everybody that's ever looked at the art's been in. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, one of the things that when Leslie, when you emailed me, I was like, oh, this art is really good.
I'm like, yeah, look at the art. I just want everyone that we are messaging, it's like, hey, just look at the art. Like, you don't know us, but like, come on, like the art speaks for itself, right?
Will it be colored though?
We're playing it as a black and white book. Brian's art is just amazing, and
It is good.
he shades it so great. Like he has a big manga influence. You can see it's like I feel like it really works really strongly as a black and white book. We're not presently thinking about color. I mean, it could be a distant stretch goal, but right now we're focused on presenting as a black and white book.
Pretty cool. And so, and you're also working with I hope I say his name right, Tobin Rasicot.
Mm-hmm.
Say that right? So
Yeah.
As the letterer, am I correct on that?
Yes, you're right.
Okay. So what's been the role of Tobin throughout this? Because sometimes I know the letterers do a lot of the design work and whatnot. So how what's it like working with Tobin?
Tobin's been great to work with. He works really fast. He was the last piece in this awesome Savage Wizard puzzle. Brian has been just putting a crazy amount of detail on his pages. So actually, we just got like that last preview page that you guys see on that Kickstarter page where our main character loses his hand. We just got that in. So Tobin's only just now got to start working on the letters. So he's been doing a fantastic job. But yeah, he's got a lot more work ahead of us once we get our funding.
I really appreciate Tobin because I had just worked with Tobin right before this, and he emailed me like the next day going, hey, I see you guys are doing Savage Wizard, please let me in. And and then he just like anything, like any idea I had, because I don't know why, but I had just like this clear vision of what I wanted, and he just was able to make it happen, and I really appreciated that. And he did it so fast. I was like, Tobin's amazing.
He is
Yeah.
amazing.
Now, whenever in any fantasy fiction or whatever, as long as somebody loses their hand, that's usually seen as a tribute to, one of the biggest movies of all time. So is this intentional? Was it a tribute to Star Wars?
It was not a Star Wars. I mean, at least not consciously a Star Wars tribute. We just thought it would be a pretty cool way to kind of get to where we're going in terms of our main character learning magic.
And
please, this guy forgets we were actually homaging all of the New 52 DC comics where everybody kept losing body parts.
Did you see that every single MCU movie in phase 2 had somebody losing their hand?
No, I didn't even know.
Wow.
Because it was actually a tribute to Empire Strikes Back.
Nice.
Wow.
And how do the two of you work together? Two writers. How does that work together?
So it is I'm a very like weird writer where I just like go by my gut and I just do things sporadically. And so working kind of structurally was something new for me, and working with Les, it kind of had it, you have to kind of work that way. So I proposed I had worked on this graphic novel workshop thing, and they had showed me this thing called Snowflake Method, where you just take like, here's the log line. Next, you're going to take a character and build it by one sentence, and then you build like go one sentence, then a paragraph, then a whole page for each of the concepts or each of the characters, and we just kind of slowly built until we had the full idea. And then from there, we also kind of broke down the scene list, and each of us took one scene, and I took another scene, and then we came back and just kind of edited it together to make it feel more seamless. And that's kind of how our process worked, and it really worked pretty well. And I was really happy with working with Les because it just was just so fast and so easy, and it wasn't so like so much a fight. So it was really awesome.
Les, where are you from?
I'm originally from Maryland. I bounce around. I'm now in Texas, but originally from Maryland.
So you're in Texas right now, and you are from Maryland. And Doug, you're from Missouri.
Yeah, I grew up in Colorado for a lot of my life, and then now I'm Missouri.
So those are very different locations. Every place you just mentioned. Do you ever feel like you're bringing some of those places in, even into a fantasy setting like this? Like,
great question.
Influences
I
from
feel
those
like
places.
it hasn't come to, I mean, yeah, it must be really subconscious. I haven't thought too much on it. I think that I'm sure I will tell one story that has a lot more of that overt influence, but as of now, it hasn't come up too much. But that is a great question.
Growing up in like Missouri, where pro wrestling is kind of like a thing. So yeah, I guess I brought those like, hey, our culture is not culture, but I'm saying, like that's something that we're into, and so that's kind of what I brought to it.
But guys trash talking each other and beating each other up.
Yeah. Just over the top action that's just ridiculous, and people acting ridiculous. Yeah.
Is that why one of these guys looks like Roman Reigns?
Yeah, close. Tamatonga. If you're familiar with. Yeah, that's who I went with.
Really? That's okay. That's pretty awesome. I'm a big wrestling mark too. So.
Okay, yeah.
And let's talk about your Kickstarter levels. So you got tiers here. You got at $5, you get the PDF, which thank you for offering that. It's great for people like me, because where shipping is a problem.
Yeah.
$9, you got the physical copy. $15, you guys are adding Ghost Gauntlet and Leap M. You guys want to talk about that one?
Leslie's mini comic Ghost Gauntlet. It's really amazing. It's with artist Dan Owens. If you like kind of silly supernatural action stuff, it's really fun comic to get. My comic Ultra Max is kind of like a super villain prison comic where the henchman killed the most famous superhero there is possible, and now he's in jail, and he's just trying to survive because he's planning on snitching to the feds for like a shorter release. So if you want more of what we're doing, there's a chance to get some more.
At $19, you guys have at night you've got multiple $19 options actually. So you got the physical copy and the PDF Savage Wizard #1, and then you have a 5x7 mini print, a 5x7 mini print, and it depends on what you get. So you got one for Ice Ghost, one for C. Larson.
Yes. Yeah, C. Larson does Boom Studios Orcs comic.
Okay.
We were to get C. Larson on board.
Her art is incoming. Hopefully soon we'll get to reveal that. But yeah, we're really awesome to share what she's been working on.
It's awesome. And two prints by Brian.
Yeah,
That's-
they're
Yeah.
panels from the comic that we just like, somebody wants to have that, you know. So
Yeah.
we're making those into prints.
At $30, you have five copies of Savage Wizard #1. Am I reading that right?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
So
for
that's
like
a retailer.
comic shops. Yeah.
Okay. And all 4 mini prints. At $45, you guys have the physical copy of Savage and the PDF, plus all 4 mini prints. And at $75, people can chat with both of you, as well as get the physical copy and the PDF and all 4 mini prints. And you'll give them a script or pitch feedback. How's that going to work?
Trying to do Zoom calls. I've done this before. Hopefully it'll keep going well, but I just we get it ahead of time, we look it over, and we write up some notes and go through it with the person who wants some advice. I've successfully pitched a couple of times, so hopefully people I can help somebody else out. That's what I'm hoping
It's pretty
to.
cool. It's pretty cool of you guys, like, giving back.
Yeah, we
awesome.
hope that there are some kind of newer writers that may be looking for some help, that we can hopefully help out there with that tier.
And the final tier is $100, Stoneheart. You'll get the physical copy and the PDF, 4 mini prints, and 5 people will get drawn into the book.
2 have already been taken so far, so if you're interested, come. There's also another 2 tiers that are coming in. There's one, if you scroll up just a little bit, there's the new variant cover by Centerman. It's like a gorgeous, like, fine art looking cover.
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
art.
Yeah.
And soon another artist to be named. I don't want to spoil it yet, but has just dropped the art in our DMs, and we're like, yes. And that's going to be another variant cover. It's going to be amazing.
You want to give us a hint as to who it is?
Their last name is an animal.
Okay. Well then, people watching this can try guessing. All right. You guys have anything else you wanna say, you wanna plug?
Go ahead, Leslie.
No, I just want to say thanks very much for having us on, and definitely check out Savage Wizard. I think it's a really brutal and funny action comedy that people will enjoy. I mean, just look at Brian's art, and I think, hey, me and Doug also did a good job. So yeah, check out Savage Wizard.
Awesome.
Your Twitter.
Wait, what was that?
Plug your Twitter.
Oh, I'm on Twitter at Let's Write.
What about your Twitter, Doug?
At Doug A. Wood and the number 1.
Okay. And last question. When is the next one?
Ooh, good question. That's a great question.
Okay.
We want to see how this one goes first, and then we'll definitely figure out when the next one goes, but hopefully not too much longer after.
The second script is completely written. We did that before we even went and found an artist. We were like, we're writing 1 and 2.
We wrote so
then
fast.
So it just all depends on how long and how badly we annoy Brian.
Cool. All right. Thank you, guys. It's looking really good. So good luck.
Thank you so much, Evan.
The Kickstarter runs until, where's that date? It says 27 days.
October 15th.
October 15th. Thank you.
Mhm.
There you go.
You're good.
Thank you, guys. It's looking really good. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.